Hello everyone. Welcome to this session. We're really happy to have you here and have this session with all of you. So we're waiting for others to join this call. So we can introduce ourselves through the chat and maybe try to know more about each other, about what are you doing, your name, your organization, your nationality, and you can also type in the chat something fun about you. I think a couple of you already put some information about yourself into the chat, but now you can try to add more information to that. Just to let you know, this session will be recorded because we want to share this information with those that are not able to join this call. And also, if you want to check again the information that we are going to have and we are going to discuss today, you are going to have available the recording of the session. So please share through the chat this information, and if you are not speaking, we want to make you and let you know, please close your microphone so it will be easier for everyone to listen the information that we'll be sharing today. So let me start with me. So hello, my name is Laura Valencia. I'm from Colombia, currently living in Ecuador. And something fun about me, today is really cold, and I'm still trying to get warm because I'm a skinny girl and trying to get warm with a lot of clothes today because it's really cold. Um, but please just introduce yourself. If you want to maybe open your mic, please raise your hand and open your mic. Feel free to open your mic and share with us this information. So Amuli puts in the chat that I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly, sorry, but sometimes it's not the perfect pronunciation. But Amuli Mansuru says is the leader of RIAD Foundation Uganda refugee-led organization in Rena camp, and share the information. Thank you. Yeshua, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair, and the rest of the colleagues on this call. My name is Yesu Ali Kuria. I am the Executive Director for Reliable Refugee Storytellers Association. This is a refugee-led organization that's based here in Bidibidi Refugee Settlement. And then I am the one providing oversight for the organization. So, yes, I am excited to be part of this meeting. And one thing funny about me is that I don't leave any small detail. So I am always very keen to details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeshua, for also sharing with us what are you doing, where are you living, and what is the work that you are doing. Thank you for that. I don't know if somebody else wants to share about your own information with everyone. Yes, Amelia, please go ahead. Amelia, can you hear me? Can you open your mic? Not sure. I know a couple of you are having problems with network. For that reason, we also recording the session to make sure that you can get the information in the right way. Okay, let's move and continue with this. Thank you, Larissa, for sharing your information also through the chat. So we're going to continue discussing the different things and important things about why it's important to have a session like this that is speaking more about projects. And also, we want to share with you some information about the projects that we are working on. So, And we know that you are working in a really amazing way with so many things and so many different focus on community involvement and the way to help in some way to the community. So for that reason, we create this call for proposals. So the purpose of this session is to understand how you can develop your project design skills to support your application for grant project funding. You can continue editing and completing the information for the application and answer any type of question that you have for this application. And we're going to remember you again to meet yourself and ask questions through the chat, because if you have a question through the whole session, you can type the question through the chat. At the end, we're going to have a section on questions and answers. So we are going to take all the different questions to answer in that, or maybe that question will be answered at the end of the presentation. So it will be easier to take your WhatsApp number, your email, so it will be easier just to send more information about the next step. My Bart.
Uh, Hi everyone. Laura, can you just confirm that you can hear me? Because I was not able to hear you. Maybe I don't know. I can't hear you. I'm not sure if you can also hear me. Great. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you managed to hear Laura. Yeah, so Laura was just giving at least a quick overview about this mini workshop. So the purpose, she was just saying like we are here only just to develop project design skills, and then to support the application for green and the project funding. I know they are, yeah, most of you have already applied, you have already also submitted, and then I know you saw the option to retrieve your application, edits. Yep, so we are here to help you so that at least you can edit and then maybe finalize, because I know there are some people who didn't manage to submit one or two documents. So that's why we said, no, let's organize this mini workshop so that we can try and assist each other. And then we will also be here to answer to your questions. So that's why you can see we are here with the Global Refugee Youth Network Green Team. So we'll be able to ask all the questions, because what us we want, we just want you guys to succeed and for your project to be selected here. Sorry for the camera. I hope now you can see me well. So now I know most of you know about the Global Refugee Youth Network. Yeah, as you can see it on the screen. It's just an independent youth-led network that supports young refugees to develop their capacities, empower themselves, help each other, and lead initiatives to respond to their community's needs and advocate locally, nationally, regionally, globally for the changes they feel important. And this time around, we are talking about Uganda, Kampala, and you'll be able even to meet one of the colleagues who is based in Kampala, and I'm sure that he'll be able to speak with you the same language. Yeah, so this is about the green team. So here with the green team, we support at least with funding, we support with capacity building, and then we also support also with some advocacy opportunities. So we are here. So now, can we move to the next slide, please? Great. So now we are talking about the dignity. So I know most of you will ask me what's the dignity. So we try at least to put it like in a way that everyone can understand. So the Uganda Youth Action Fund, also known as the Dignity Project, represents a collaborative initiative involving the Global Refugee Youth Network, Women's Refugee Commission, and Norian Refugee Council, Green WRC, NSC. So when we'll be talking with you here, you will be just hearing us talking about Green, WRC, NSC. So these are just the abbreviations of Global Refugee Network, Women's Refugee Commission, and Norian Refugee Council. And these are supported by the Innovation Norway. So these projects primarily um, objective is to empower young refugees and their host communities in Uganda to enable them to become drivers of positive transformation. I know you are already doing great things on the ground. So we are here. I know the amount of money that we can provide, it may not be enough, but I know it can be like a seed funding for those who want to start from scratch, and even for those who want maybe to improve the work that they are already doing. So, as I was saying, the Global Refugee Network or the Green Team, like we have at least some people who will be there to work with you. I know there will be some questions even after this mini workshop. Yep. So we have at least a few people from Green who are going to assist. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yep. So as you can see, yeah, almost everyone is smiling. So you will also notice that even when they'll be presenting or introducing themselves, they will be also smiling. So that's the good thing I like the team which is involved in the Dignity project. So here I'm with Laura. Laura, who already introduced herself. She's the one who uh, did the welcome remarks. So we also have Oricia, who is on this call. Oricia, can you just open your mic, if possible, your camera as well, and then introduce yourself to the team, and you will pass the floor to another person. So over to you, Oricia.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, I think I can hear you. I'm not sure.
Thank you. My name is Orisia Makonda. My pronouns are she, hers. I am originally from DRC, but currently based in Nairobi. And within Green, I am the Gender and Advocacy Associate. Glad to meet you all and to be here. Thank you. I will pass on the mic to Marot Simon.
Thank you so much, Orisha. Hello, everyone. Nice meeting all of you. I think we're meeting most of you for the second time or the third time, which is really wonderful. Now, Dignity Project is also going to bring us together to work closely. My name is Simon Maratolo, for those who have not maybe met me before. The advocacy coordinator at the Global Refugees Network, and I will be one of the focal persons in Uganda for those who maybe would like to meet me in person or maybe have challenges in the Dignity Project and would like maybe to have a hand of maybe a member from Green to be involved. So I'll be very happy to work with you here personally. I'll pass it over to Brian Dennis.
Thank you so much, Simon. Well, hello everyone. My name is Valdari Marchena. I'm from Venezuela, currently living in Spain. And within Green, I work as the communication specialist. It's really great to be here with you and to meet some of you and also to reconnect with some of you. And I hope you can enjoy these sessions and also can join the Dignity Project. So thank you so much. Over to you, Bart.
Great. Thank you so much, the Green Team. This is the Green Team. So then I will be at least in touch during this project. So even during the process of applying and then during the implementation of the projects, and even when we'll be submitting the report. So we will be working closely. So now we can move to the next slide. So here we are going to talk about the call for proposals. So here, as I told you, there's green, NRC, and WRC. So these are three organizations who came up together, and then they had to put up the call for proposals, focus on supporting actions undertaken by the refugee youth groups, organizations, and initiatives. So this is just to help refugee leaders to strengthen their work by providing them financial support, capacity building, and advocacy support, as I mentioned earlier. So for this fund, you can apply for a maximum of 4,000. I know before it was like from 500 to 5,000, but now the maximum is 4,000. So in case maybe you think it may be less, that's not a problem. So we have also a few criteria, and I know there are even most of the people who have already worked with us, and there are even some who have just submitted their reports. Yeah, so I know we will be just speaking the same language, and I know that this session will be an interactive session. We will be just talking. So the criteria, we can move to the next slide, please. So the criteria, so first of all, the project is to clearly explain the problem that you identify in the community and how this project is going to help in addressing that problem. Secondly, the project is to explain the expected results and the planned activities and costs. Yeah, I know most of you, like you know what I'm talking about, like when I'm talking about the expected results. So after doing this project, like at the end, what are we expecting to have as the result? And then what are the activities that you're going to conduct, and also the cost, just for us to have an idea of the funds that you would need or you are going to invest in your project. So the project is also to make a positive impact in the community. Of course, we are here at least to make sure that when you bring this project, at least it's making something positive in the community. Even if today, tomorrow you are not there, at least they know that there's a certain organization, there's a certain project manager who at least let something here on the ground. And then it is also to promote and celebrate diversity, inclusion, and gender equality. So here we just want to make sure that everyone is included, like in terms of religion, age, gender, maybe people with disabilities, the minority community. So making sure that everyone is there. And as you can see on the call, this call for proposal, it's specifically for refugees who are living in Uganda and exactly in Kampala. You know, I received even a few emails to say that there are some people who are in the rural areas or in different settlements, and then they wanted also to apply. But you know, we receive like different funding, and then these funders sometimes they usually come also with different criteria. So we have to make sure that at least we respond to it. So I know there are other calls which are going maybe to target those people who are living in maybe Kalobei or in Chakatu. Yeah, so at least we know the name of these settlements. Next slide, please. So now we are exciting to receive at least so many applications, and then we expect to have more applications. So we'll have also time to review in order to assess like these project ideas. So we need you to explain them clearly, like including the costs, yeah, like that are going at least to be part of this project. So there are different templates that you'll find when you'll be applying, and then just try to make sure that everything is clear, yeah, so that at least when someone is reading, we don't have at least to call you or maybe to send you an email so that we can clarify. So just make sure that things are here. So that's why we are also here to respond to the questions that you may have. So now, I'm sure Idaris is going to share with us the link in the chats, so that you can know the link, like how you're going to apply, and then how you're going to find these templates. And then maybe there are some of you, or even all of you, will be interested to know more about the Green website, where there's everything, the call for proposals, the templates, and even the way to apply. So here you'll find the template form that you must fully complete, like in order to have your project considered for funding. Because if you just put maybe a certain part, you don't consider the other part. So that means it will be really hard for us to understand really your project. And then there are also a few templates that is coming together with this application. And then it also includes a simple budget format. And the project template is just a format that can help you to organize your ideas. So you don't have to submit it, but it's just a tool that can help you to organize your thoughts, and you can submit it like in case you want. So we also have a budget in Google Sheets that we can call it Excel, and it's really detailed and includes formulas that will calculate automatically if you're working with a computer. And usually it's good when you're doing this kind of application to use a computer, because at some point when you're using a phone, it may be complicated. So if you don't have maybe one, you can even ask to a colleague to give you. So that's why, like, it's really important. If you use the phone, then it may make your life complicated. So we need you to submit a budget that explains the estimated costs of the activities that you have planned, and you can use one of these templates, or maybe in case you are really creative, feel free to use your own formats, but just making sure that you include all the details. Yeah, so then we will also provide practical tips on how to complete the application. So we'll also talk about the concept of the project management, and talk through some tools that can help you to plan a project. So now, I think before I hand over to my colleague Simon, I think we can move to the next slide, please. Laris?
So how will you join my?
Yeah. So as we said, sorry, like I'm still speaking. I know you have questions, so for now maybe you can just note them down, and then you just mute yourself. And then when there'll be time for questions, you can always ask us. And in case maybe you think it's really urgent, feel free to also drop it in the chat. Yeah, because I just want all of us to be on the same page. So here now we are going to talk about the tutorial. Yeah, so just for you to know how to access the call for application. Can you move to the next slide, please? Hey, can you mute yourself, and the communication team can assist us? Yes, thank you so much. Great. So here, as you can see, these are at least a few steps for you to be able to apply for this call for proposal. So first of all, as you can see, the first step, you go to this website, and it was shared in the chat, www.green.network. Yeah. And you will find the second step on the button. Like, you just scroll down, and then you'll see that image appearing on the second step. So then you are going to select the application form. After selecting the application form, step 3, you are going to download the application template. And then step 4, you're going to fill out the form with your group. not yourself. So that's why we said it's good at least when you're coming to this workshop, just make sure that you come with 1 or 2 colleagues, because I know sometimes you may not understand one point, but your colleague may remind you, and then you can assist each other. And I know this is a collective effort. And then step 4, 5, please. After doing everything, you apply, you fill the templates, you submit. So then you will have just to wait for green to come back to you to respond to your proposal. Yeah, so I know it may take some time, but I don't think like it's going to take really for a long time. We're going to make sure that we work on this as soon as possible and then come back to you so that you can be able to get your result. And in case maybe you want to drop us an email, a follow-up email, that's still fine. And for this project proposal, I know the deadline was supposed to be tomorrow, which is January 6th, but we have tried to extend it to we have extended to January 10th. Yeah, so that at least you can be able to share also with your colleagues, even maybe those who didn't manage to edit 1 or 2 things can be able to edit. So now we are going to move to the next slides. Great, thank you so much. So now I will give the floor to Simon Marutulung, who is also based in Kampala. Yeah, and I know you will speak also the same language. He's going to take us through the project cycle. So over to you, Simon.
Okay, thank you so much, Bat. And hello, everyone. You're welcome once again to this information session for the Dignity project, which is supported by Innovation Norway and implemented by GRAIN in partnership with the NRC and the Women Refugee Commission. So I'm going to take us through the project cycle briefly. And I know most of you actually maybe attended our information session on project when you first applied in 2021, or even those who applied like last year through the current running project. You might actually also go with us through the project cycle. But if you have maybe any question or maybe need another clarification, always use the chat. I will be able to stop and maybe answer the question, or maybe we can answer later at the Q&A session. So you all know that designing and managing a project has its steps, and different institutions or organizations have different ways of explaining the different steps. But basically, for these 4 steps that are actually here on the screen, the first one, which is assessment. Assessment, like that's analyzing and understanding the context, the problem, and then the vulnerabilities in the community that the institution that is actually applying for any project actually understand. The second step is outlining the aim or the solution or the aim of the project, the activity that you're planning, and then having a clear expectation or the expected results in your own project. The third step, which we will talk about today, is on implementation. So how we implement the activities and monitor some of these activities and also track progress towards the stated expected results of your project. And then the last part is on project reporting, which is on the 4th and the final step. So project reporting, you all know, it's reviewing how the implementation actually went, documenting the learnings from the experiences, and also reporting on the lessons that you learned and how you also spend the budget that you really put on together for your project. This to the donor and also sometimes to your community for accountability purposes. So like I said before, today we're going to focus on the first 2, which is the project assessment and then the project design. Next slide. So first, we want to hear from you. Tell us your experiences with project design. Do you have any positive experience or a lesson that you learned or a question about project design that you will share with us here? You can raise your hand or just unmute so that I can actually pick you, or you can share your comment on the chat. Can you tell us about your project design experiences for those who are actually on the call now? It can be on a project you're running right now. It can be on a project maybe you did not succeed on. You can be on a project, it can even be maybe on this same project that you're actually applying for. Maybe you're the lead person or a project manager in your team, and you have an experience maybe maneuvering through our website, the green website, on all these links. Did you find it difficult? Do you have any experience that you want to share with us? Please, you can use the chat or you can raise up your hand. Amule is saying some of us who submitted our application, and it's today that the project is looking at Kampala. Okay. Yes, so Amule is saying some of us who submitted our project application, and it's only today that the project is looking at Kampala only. What is the way forward for those refugees in other cities in Uganda? Amule, thanks so much for the question. Just like it was shared by Bart before, the Dignity project is first looking at Kampala. We're looking at projects that are going to be here, implemented here in Kampala, and then it will be from the learning and the experiences from implementing projects here in Kampala that the Dignity project might actually be extended to other parts of Uganda. But the first focus right now is really a pilot project that we are looking at here in Kampala. Do we have any other question? Is there anyone who can share their experiences on running projects? You can either write on the chat or you can unmute and share with us any project experience before we move to the next step.
Yeah, and Simon, I know there are also a few people that we've worked with. There's Shalom Ishimwe, who is on the call. There's who else? I think Elia Siriza. Yeah, so feel free at least to share with your colleagues, maybe some of your experience, and even others. Please feel free also to share the experience.
And Budia Agostino, I saw you actually shared, have you unmuted? Do you want to take off and share with us your experience? Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing the chat. Yes, Shalom, over to you.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. My name is Shalom. I'm based in Kampala. So I've been working with Green for some time now, and the experience has been something which is positive. I've liked with working with Green. First of all, is the flexibility. When you compare it to to other partners, Green has that room for flexibility to allow us to be creative and try to get impact as we tend to. And also now, like when it comes to implementation of the project, something which always come up is the delays to get funds, which always requires to be ready I mean, that's something I think that's the experience most of us here have, is that we need always to be ready. Like if the funds doesn't come on time, what are the plan Bs, especially when you're working with other people, with other stakeholders, and you agree that at this particular time you're going to be doing this, and then it finds that the date comes when you are not yet ready, you don't have funds. No, I mean, all of the things are not in place. So I think that's the most important thing. Like that's the lesson I've got to have by now. It's always to have, plan B. And of course, we try to come up with solutions that more than excuse or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shalom, for sharing this wonderful experience with the team here. So if I get yes, there is sometimes there are delays, but then you as a team actually come up with the reworking on your plans or work plan for your project to see that you actually fit into the delays and actually plan for see circumstances that are actually happening with the project implementation. I do have questions here on the chat. The first one is coming from Vanessa, who is saying, what if the project is based in Kampala but has a spec of reaching other parts of Uganda? So I would say, please apply and share your concept with us so that we can also look through it as a team, and then we will see how it's also going to be fitting with the already arranged the arrangement that we already put in place in terms of checking on these projects and also seeing that the impact of this project is really helping the people that that we're actually targeting. So, Yeshua Aliki, you're saying, does it mean all the projects are already disregarded because it's not designed to be implemented in Kampala because we have already submitted? So the first, like I shared before, the first project that we're going to be working with under the Dignity project are those that are actually going to be implemented in Kampala. But that does not also stop you from sharing or to not discourage you because you've already submitted and then you're like, no, this project is also going to be based in Kampala. So your calls or your ideas is also going to create that demand and the need for the project to actually be extended outside Kampala. So it's also very good that you guys have actually submitted your project proposal. We'll also look through them and then to see, sit down with the team to see how best maybe some of this project call can actually be taken forward to other parts of Uganda, not only in Kampala. Amule, you are saying only those in Kampala to share. It's not only those in Kampala to share. All of you can actually share. If you have a project experience or an experience with designing a project, please share. It's not only those that are actually based in Kampala to actually share their experiences. Is there another person that maybe has a project experience that we want to share here, or maybe a question before we can actually move to the next slide? We want to make sure that we actually learn from each other. Help us know the project areas that is high yielding. Budia, are you meaning areas where the project will be implemented or different thematic areas? So if you're looking at different thematic areas where the project is not really limited to a specific thematic areas, but if you're looking at the project areas where it is going to be implemented, it is all over Kampala, all the divisions in Kampala, you are actually free to actually share your project with us. Even those that are actually in the Kampala metropolitan area, maybe you are in Wakiso, maybe you are in Mukono, you are in yes, so Wakiso, Mukono, and that's closest areas to Kampala, where they're actually refugees. Please you should be able to actually share your project. In Budia, thematic areas were very open. It can be on child protection, it can be on general protection of refugees, it can be on livelihood, it can be on social cohesion. Your project can be on sport, it can be on education. As long as you are serving refugees, as long as your target populations are refugees, please apply. We don't limit any thematic focus. We just make sure that these projects are designed by young people who are, and they are designed and led by young people who are actually 30 years and below, and they are able to actually target refugees and the host communities where they're actually residing in the urban areas. Solomon, your question is clarify to members whether the project is targeting urban refugees only or rivals with operation in Kampala can apply. It is not only urban refugees, it is rhinos that are actually having operations here in Kampala. If you are a refugee-led organization and you are based in Kampala, please do apply, regardless of whether you are registered in the camp or you are registered in Kampala. So we will be having more time for Q&A. Please keep them coming in. Guys, can you move to the next slide? So we're going to look into the two aspects of project design, just like I said before. We're looking at assessment. We'll also be looking at the project assessment, and then the project design, which are the two steps that we shall be looking at today. So with assessment is very important. It is a very important step. The purpose of assessment, as we all know, is to analyze and understand the community well. What aspect of the communities or what specific problems you will want to focus on, because there are so many community problems that are facing the refugees that you're actually serving. So if you say you're going to be addressing all of them, it might not be easy. So once you are very clear, you have a clear understanding, it will be very easy for you to describe the community context, explain a specific problem in the project application, to show funders that you understand the problems so that they can understand what you are proposing and why it is actually important and very impactful in your own community. So an assessment is also important because it informs what activities you plan to have, to implement, and how also that we want to implement them. So these activities that you plan to should be appropriate for the community, and also help to solve the problem that are in community and respond to the different vulnerabilities and the diversity that you have in your community. With also a different sensitivity to the different age group, the genders, aspects of diversity, and then the ethnicity or the disabilities, all of these different diversity that you should have in your community. So we're going to learn about some tools that you can actually use with your groups in your community. And these tools, just like they actually been mentioned here, is community mapping, where you get to understand and describe the community well. Then the second tool is the problem tree analysis, where you analyze and explain the problems it causes, and then the impact, what are the causes of this problem, and also the impacts in their own community. Then the last tool that we're also going to be looking at is the vulnerability assessment, considering the different age, the different gender, and then the diversity in your own community. Next slide. So let's start with the community mapping. So you probably already know a lot about your community. Now your job is just to pull together the different information to fill the gaps and describe your own community, so that other people that are not part of your community can actually understand the situation. For example, if someone is applying for this project, maybe your project is being reviewed in Canada. Someone who does not know Kampala, who does not know Mukono, they don't know Central Division, they don't know Makinde, they don't know what Kawempe looks like, they don't know what Nakawa looks like, or how Rubaga Division is. So how are you going to be using the community tools, the community mapping tools, as a way to actually communicate the challenges that you have in your own community, the types of the members that you actually have in your own community, to that person, so that they actually understand why it's very important for you to actually have that problem solved in your community. So first, the community mapping tool is the first tool. So it's a way of talking through the question as a group. It can also help you to draw a map of the community to show where different groups live or where services are actually currently located. So it helps you to describe your community. Where is it located? Are you located in Gayaza? Are you located in Chira? Are you located in Tinda? Are they located in Makerere Chikon, or where is it? Is this area accessible, or are they remote? So for the case now in Kampala, most of these places are really accessible. But we also know that the context of which refugees in urban areas actually live, most of them are actually in the slum areas. Are they also accessible in some of those slum areas, or it's also very hard for you to locate where they are? Yeah, so this project is really going to focus on urban population. So we really know already that your community is urban based, and they are based in urban areas, not in the refugee camps. But also in urban, we do have well-to-do regions or areas in the urban, and also not so well-to-do areas where there is really limited access to some of those services. And then the community that you're going to be serving, what is the population like? How many people live in your community and who are they? Are they refugees? Are they refugees and host communities? Are these people from different countries of origin, or they are only one ethnic group? Are you going to be only serving the Somalis? Are you going to be serving the Eritrean? Are you serving only the Congolese? Or you are serving only the South Sudanese? Or you are serving all these different communities in Kampala? So you don't need to document all the details, but it is very important for us to actually help to gather information and then share with the team that are going to be reviewing your information or your proposal. The information that is very relevant, for example, if a large portion of the community is youth, that is probably an important piece of information that you don't really want to leave out. For example, if your proposal is targeting urban areas like Makinde division, where there are so many refugees, and then you can say maybe we are 70,000 or there are 20,000 refugees in the Makinde division, but maybe 15,000 of them are young people or they are youth between this age. So that is a very important community aspect to actually include. The other thing you also include are the general challenges or the strength of your community, because you don't want to see only the weakness in your community. There are also some strength and some very, very important characteristics that your communities actually are having. So the question here will be asking your team is, what is the poverty level like in that division or in that area or in that slum? Is there good or poor internet connectivity? Some of these areas, for example, if you are in Wakaliga or you are in Lukulongo or you are around some of these slums areas that refugees really find affordable to live in, and their internet connectivity, is there even water that they do actually have? Is there clean water, or they actually get water from the host community areas, the borehole or the joint water points that are there? And then how is it, wow, the access to jobs, and then in those areas, are refugees able to get jobs freely? Are they able to mix freely with the community leaders? Is there also conflict or good cooperation among the different ethnic groups? First, the refugees themselves, the different religious group or the different tribal group. First, among the refugees themselves, and also even between the refugees and then the host communities. You look at if there are questions or any other things there. Then you also look at access to our barriers to key services like education, health, protection, and livelihood. The schools that are maybe accommodating refugee children in these urban areas, how are they? Are they government schools? Are they having really good teachers and teachers paid on time? Are the children really learning? How are they living in classes? How is that access to education? How is access to health? Because most refugees in the settlement, they say, no, you're in Kampala, at least you have access to better health services. But then is it the same? Is it really like the correct information? Or if you go to a hospital, let's say Mengo Hospital, you go to Rubaga, or you go to Mulago, how are refugees treated there? How are refugees finding it easy? Do they just find free services there, or they actually have to pay for it? Do they even find people that can actually interpret for them in some of these hospitals, or they actually have to make sure that they have their own interpreters? So you can discuss the above questions and any other point that you think are very important with your group, and then you take some notes on your community maps. Next slide. So before we talk about the problem tree analysis, I want us to actually just take a minute or two for us to hear from Laura, to just put in the chat there a brief description of her community in 3 to 4 sentences that explain where it is, how many people are there, who they are, and what it's like to actually live there. Noting also their strengths and the challenges that the community is actually facing.
Simon, it will be better if I can describe my community, but opening my mic.
Sure.
So sorry, because it's cutting a little bit on my end. You were requesting to describe my community, and list them.
Yes, so just 3 sentences about your community, explaining where your community is, how many people live in your community, and who they are, what it's like to live there, noting the strength and the challenges of your community.
Great. So, in Ecuador, we have urban areas with a mix of migrants, refugees, and host community. And I think one of the challenges, especially with refugee youth, is the lack of opportunities to get involved in um, advocacy activities and other type of access to maybe implement action at the community level. One of the strengths is that the community, refugee and migrant communities are really close. So they normally are connect through cultural music or different activities. They are really connect and they are really close to each other because they feel like a family living in another context. And I think another important point is that because we live in urban cities, we don't have like specifically places to meet with migrants and refugees. So I think that's another challenge that we have in my community. I think that could be meets what you are requesting is necessary, Maury. Let me know.
Thank you so much, Laura, for describing for us your community. So I think, colleagues, as you can actually hear from Laura, even if we are not in Ecuador, we are now also able to understand what is like live in Ecuador, what the young people actually are struggling to get involved in, and what is it like to actually live in our own community. So that's how important community mapping is. If you really understand your community, you can actually describe it in a very short, brief way to a person that even does not live in your own community, which makes it easier for them to actually understand and feel like they're actually part of your own community. So I'll also go through the problem tree analysis in case there are no any questions from you on under the community mapping tools. So we're looking at the problem tree analysis. And the problem tree analysis is also another tool, just like I said before, that you can actually use to analyze specific problem to better understand how to tackle it. Because there are so many problems that your community might actually be facing, maybe from access to education, access to healthcare services, access to job opportunities and all, and even access to use-friendly healthcare services. So these are really so many problems and they are huge that you cannot all put in the same project proposal and then say they are going to be funded and then we are going to tackle this as a team. It might be very hard for you. So as a team, you might actually want to come together and just do a little bit of a group discussion and then focus on one problem and then use the problem tree analysis tool as a way to actually analyze and understand the challenge much deeper. So first thing you need to do is to list all the challenges that you actually have within your community. It can be overcrowding in school, it can be abuse of drug, it can be conflict with the host community in the urban areas, it can be access to medical services, maybe pregnant women are giving birth in the hospitals, but there is no one to interpreting for them, and then they end up not even going to some of these healthcare services. So you list all of these problems, and then you rank the problems according to which one is actually the one that you really want to focus on as a team, because you don't want to focus on all 10 problems or 100 problems in your community. You want to focus on one problem. After that problem, you go to the next one. So and then you pick that one problem, one core problem you want to focus on. You write it on the trunk of the tree. That becomes now what your problem is. For example, here we have use access to quality education as the main problem. And then now as a team, you discuss the causes that lead to the core problem. So you write this at the root of the tree. So what are the problems? What are the causes of this problem? It can be maybe if it is uh, uh, like uh, women maybe giving birth at home, they're not going to the hospital. Maybe they are segregated in the hospital. Maybe they have no translators in the hospital. Maybe they don't know the direction of the hospital. They maybe feel that, okay, when they're in the hospital, maybe their children are going to be exchanged by the doctors, maybe while they're in the hospital without any care. So this might be like the root causes of the problem of why maybe women are giving birth at home compared to maybe attending an antenatal and also giving birth in the hospitals. And then the third step, after discussing the root causes of the problem, the fourth one now is look at the impact of the problems on the life of the refugees themselves, and the refugee youth or refugee women that maybe you're actually talking about. This one now you write them on the branches and the leaves of the trees. So the one that are in green and in yellow in orange climate, they actually learn the impact or the effects of the problem in your community. Now you discuss this as a team, and then write these things on small notes, and then for example, maybe if you are talking about use of alcohol and drugs, early marriages, if you are talking about drop out of school, maybe high crime rates, early pregnancies, ignorance, idleness, low self-esteem, if these are maybe the problems that are actually coming in as a result of refugee youth that do not have access to quality education in your own community, or maybe high death rate, maybe high mortality rate of the mothers and the children as they're giving birth. If your problem is looking at refugee women giving birth at home compared to going to Mulago, going to Mango, or going to Kisenyi Hospital to give birth in. Then the last step is now to look at your tree and reflect on the analysis that you've actually done. You discuss what have you learned about the problem, its causes, and then the impact. So remember, the problem is the one which you are having on the trunk. The causes are the one you have in red, which are the roots of the tree, and then the effects or the impacts in your own community are the one in orange and in green, which are the leaves of the tree. Now you discuss it as with your team members and say, okay, so this is the problem. What we have learned from it is this is the problem. These are the causes in our own community, and also these are the impacts of the problem in our own community. So I want us to take a few minutes to actually write 2 sentences in the chat here for members that are actually part of us that are joining us today. If you can just maybe try to practice and formulate for us a short problem statement that can explain in 2 sentences the problem, its causes, and impacts on refugee youth and other community members in your own community. So we're going to take the next 2 minutes to actually read or hear from you about a problem that you've analyzed as your team in your own community. It can be a problem that you've actually used to apply for this call for proposal, or it can be actually a problem that you're planning to actually submit to us. So take about a minute to draft 2 sentences about the problem, its causes, and the impacts on refugee youth and other community members. Do we have someone who is ready, who can use the chat or maybe unmute to tell us a problem that they have in their community, it causes, the impact it has on DIGNITI youth and the other community members. You're free to use the chat or just unmute and tell us. You can read for us what you've written down. Is there anyone that is ready? Or do you have any question on the problem tree analysis? Okay, Raila is going to take us to the next slide.
Come again, Simon?
And the next slide. Okay, so we're going to take the next few minutes to also look at the vulnerability analysis assessment tool. Because I said before at the start that we have three tools that we are also going to be looking at today. First is the community mapping tool. The second one we have looked at is the problem tree analysis. The last one is now the vulnerability assessment tool. So the purpose of the vulnerability assessment is to take some time to think about how people face different additional or specific challenges due to their age, due to their gender, on the aspect of different diversity like disabilities, their sexual orientation, their ethnic groups, if they are child mother or they are maybe at risk, or survivors of gender-based violence. So these additional challenges can make it harder for them to actually cope, or make it even harder for them to access services or feel included. They may face discrimination or violation of their rights because of their orientation. They might also need certain types of activities to actually help them be part of the team. So how could we then reach out to those people who have additional vulnerabilities in our community? And that's why we also need the assessment to be done to get to know all these different vulnerabilities that we have in our community. So first is that we have to reach out to them. We have to seek them out, then also not wait for them to come to us, because these are people that have traditionally been left out in all maybe settings, or maybe in all programs or activities of the areas that we are also living in. So if you also wait for them, if you don't reach out to them, they will also be continuing to stay at home and will not be engaged in their own activities. And then there's the second thing that we also need to do is to make sure that we think about different groups in terms of groups of different ages, different genders, and then different aspects of diversity and vulnerability. We look at all the different aspects as we're actually considering or writing our project or planning our project proposal. And then we make a list of individuals, the groups that we work with them, support and actually represent these people with disabilities or people with vulnerabilities. So we then also ask ourselves questions like, how do we also learn about their specific needs and aspects? How do we even get to know about what they want? How do we get to know about their needs? The thing that we can best do is just to ask them directly, to talk to them, to learn about who has what needs and what is important to them and how they want to actually be engaged. And then we also let them speak for themselves on their own challenges and needs, and also their different ideas. just like people, when we talk about refugee representation, about refugees, of late people are talking about refugees speaking for themselves. So refugees in the general context are actually considered as people with vulnerabilities. These are vulnerable people and they actually have to be considered. Now, within the refugees themselves, as you are applying for this project proposal, now within the refugees, there are different people also with different specific needs. So how do people get to know about what refugees need? They come and speak to refugees directly. So on our case also, like as project managers and project leaders, we also need to speak to these different vulnerable groups in our communities to also get to understand what their specific needs are. And then we also need to ask ourselves, how can we design inclusive project activities accessible to those people who are more vulnerable in our own community? So for us to design such kind of project, we need to make sure that we involve them in the project design, in the implementation, and throughout the project. And then we also look at how can we help people turn their vulnerabilities into strength. Some people might be, they might not be able to actually move to our centers, or they might not be able to speak our languages, they may not be able to have the same sexual orientation just like us. How do we also as a team make sure that we include these people and also turn some of their vulnerabilities into a strength? So we support them, we take actions and lead some aspect of our project. We support them to also use their skills and talents. We involve them, we get them to spaces where they can actually share their stories, their ideas, their recommendations, actually their talents. It's only through when they actually keep sharing, when they're able to actually share what they have and they feel that they actually have, that is when they can actually be able to express and be able to bring out their latent potential that has not been used before. So as a team, after hearing, after consulting this group, after listening to them, what we need to do is now to document what we have learned so that we can use it in our project design, so that we can also inform the discussion of our community, because we don't want to leave anyone out of our community. And then also the problem, it also inform the problem statement and then the aim, the expected result of our activities. I see someone has put comment in the chat. Let me just wait. Okay, thank you so much, Elia. Elia said in Kampala, Uganda, there exists a critical digital divide, overshadowing educational inequality and hindering socio-economic progress. So access to quality computer education and technological resources is severely limited, particularly among marginalized communities. So the lack of computer training, learning centers exacerbates this issue, leading to restricted opportunities for skill development and economic empowerment. So the absence of such facilities directly impact individuals' access to acquire essential digital skills necessary for employment, entrepreneurship, and other overall advancement in technological-driven world. So the underlying causes include insufficient infrastructure, financial constraint, and inadequate educational resources, resulting in a substantial digital disparity that is stifles the potential for growth and innovation among refugees in Kampala. Thank you so much, Ilea, for sharing this about your community. So this is what it feels like if you use the project development tree analysis. Ilea is able to actually tell us what the problem is, and is also able to actually tell us what the causes include, such as insufficient infrastructure, financial constraint, among others in our own community. So then the resulting effect is that there is also a digital disparity that's actually limiting refugees to actually use their knowledge, their skill to get jobs outside Kampala, or even to work online, because they're not able to actually learn some of these computer skills. So thank you so much for sharing this, Elijah. So if I may ask you a question, maybe on the vulnerabilities. So this is a challenge that refugees in Kampala are actually facing. Elia, now can you tell us how access to even computer training centers or access to computers maybe is also how this problem will affect other vulnerable members of your community? For example, you might be having a community center maybe in Nyenema, or Bunamoya, where you're actually operating as a team, is that center accessible to everyone in your community? Or there are people maybe that actually have different vulnerabilities that are not able to actually access your community, that are not actually able to access that center. You can also type on the chat here or just unmute and tell us if how this challenge of maybe access to computer infrastructures or maybe computer centers is affecting other community members. For example, those that are living with disabilities, those maybe that actually have that can only speak maybe Arabic, are not able to speak French, or maybe they are only able to speak French and they are not able to speak English, and maybe the computer trainers are actually speaking English, or those maybe that are actually speaking Lingala and they are not even able to actually speak other languages. How does this problem also affect them? So as a wait for Elijah to type, later to also type, okay. Okay, thank you. I can only take these are caused by limited infrastructure, financial constraint, and inadequate population resources. These are main causes that affect all the segment of the population here in Kampala. Okay, thank you so much, Elijah, for typing this. So Elijah has shared with us like the problem that people in Kampala are actually facing in terms of computer access and everything. So maybe to the other members of the people, okay, the team that are actually in the call here, what other vulnerable groups do you actually know in Kampala that also actually have different challenges compared to the one that refugees are all facing in general? And what are some of these unique challenges they do facing in the communities? You can use the chat or you can just unmute. So, Elia, what I'm saying is, so the challenge that you have shared is access to computer or in your own community. So that's a challenge that's affecting all the refugees in Kampala. But we know that we also have different vulnerable groups, like person living with disabilities, people who only maybe speak their mother tongue and they are not able to speak the English that we're actually using for this call. So what other challenges do you think this vulnerable group face in terms of the challenge that you have raised, or maybe in terms of any other challenges? For example, if we talk about access to education, how is that affecting those who are living with disabilities? How is that affecting people who are actually maybe child mothers? How is that affecting people who are survivors of gender-based violence in your own community? Because these are refugees, but they also have other vulnerabilities that are actually affecting them to access some of those services that we also have in our communities. Can we go to the next slide, Elizabeth? So Victor, you can actually share about this question. It can be on a different challenge. It can be on the same challenge or a different challenge that you are actually working with your own team. How are vulnerable people in your own community also affected by the same problem that you're actually sharing?
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Simon. In my side, okay, my name is Victor Kikuni, most known by stage name Papshir Babu. I'm founder and executive director for Refugee Talent Group here in Kampala. So I think it's not only that challenge about ICT. In my side, I can say that most people here in Kampala as a refugee, we are facing that's the language barrier. The language barrier, it makes us with the host community, we live in the different misunderstanding. And then we have that, we call it the base of information about the refugee issues from host communities. So I think we have a lot of challenge, but in our side, I can arise that's the language barrier, which it causes like there is some discrimination between refugees and the host community. The most of vulnerable refugees here, people living in the slum side. That can be another challenge. It's not only for I'm adding another challenge for that what I was saying. Hello?
Simon, if you are speaking, you are mute.
Yeah, we are mute. We are not here.
I'm saying thank you so much for sharing, Victor. We do also have Budi Augustine on the chat saying there is a growing drug substance abuse among refugee students, colleges in Kampala. This is due to poor initiation of the new students into university by their fellow students. And so civil war, psychot, pharma, among others. This has resulted to poor academic performance, dropout, and productive youth upon completion of their courses. Okay, thank you so much, Augustine Budia, for sharing that. Maybe my question to you or maybe to other members is, how does this challenge that you've actually mentioned here, drug and substance abuse, affect different vulnerable groups in your own community? Maybe there are students that are living with disability. How does this drug abuse also affect them? Maybe there are women that are child mothers that are also students in your own community. How does this problem also affect them? Is it severe on them? Is it, are they maybe okay? Or what does it look like to them? You can also use the chat to type. Elia is saying, focusing on people with disabilities have limited access to health care. And this is exacerbated by among refugee populations due to financial constraint and limited availability of medical facilities tailored to their needs. There's also a barrier to education, inadequate infrastructure and accessibility, and limited employment opportunities. So, for example, the barriers, the inadequate infrastructures that he's talking about here, and also accessibility. You will find that, yes, you can have a computer training center in Yanama, but it's not going to be accessible to all members of the community. So that's what you actually capture when you are talking about your vulnerability assessment. So I want us to move forward. So I know we've actually completed our first step, which is on the assessment, analyzing our community. So everything that you have learned from the community mapping, community problem tree analysis, and the global assessment will help you to formulate a problem statement and the project aim, which are usually required for your project proposal or your application. So we're going to be moving to the next step. Next slide. So let's take a minute to actually maybe draft, and you can actually throw your share share your views by the chat. Just typing on the chat. Tell us what you've actually learned through the community mapping. What are the characteristics of Kampala that is in your project application? You can also tell us when you did the problem tree analysis, what came to your attention. There's some maybe problem that you have learned that you did not think about when you were actually drafting your concept before doing the problem tree analysis. And then what did you learn from the vulnerability assessment? You can actually write this down and then share here on the chat as we move forward. Next slide, like that. So just like we have said before, your community description and the problem that you've actually analyzed, it will also help you to actually fill the form. For example, on the background and problem description, which is required of you, and then what is your project trying to achieve and how. This can only be achieved when you are able to actually do a community mapping. You're also able to do a problem tree analysis, and you really have a clear understanding of the problem. And then lastly, you are actually able to also do a vulnerability analysis for your own communities. Next slide. So let's look at step 2, which is on the project design. Here we're going to be looking at we're completely like the first step. So for the green project application, you look at what you've actually written down about your community, and then tell us what it is. Now we'll look at step 2, which is on the project design. So project design is focused on thinking through the project aims, activities, and expected results. So here you state you start with what the project's aim are. Here you define and explain what you are trying to do or to address the problem and its root causes. Your project may not solve all the problem, but your aim should be able to describe how this project will actually be a step in the right direction to actually address the problem. And then you think through the project activities. So think through what actions you and your group want to take to try and achieve a move towards the project aim. Your project activities may not fully also reach the aim that you actually want to, but they should help you move things in the right direction as you address the community challenges. And then think through and be very clear on what impact you are actually hoping to make by implementing these activities. This is what we call the expected results. So you are implementing these activities may not fully also address the aim, but they should also be achieving the expected results, which should be a step in the right direction towards the aim or toward addressing the challenges as you in your own community. And as you think through these activities, expected results, and the aim, use what you have learned through the assessment. Everything that you also learned through the mapping, the community, analyzing the community, and also the root causes, and the impact of the problem, and assessing the different vulnerabilities will help you to define a better project that addresses the problem, which is inclusive of all the different groups that you actually have in your own community. Next step. Next slide, I mean. So I'll hand it over to my colleague, Bart, to take us through the next step, which is on the storyboarding. Bart, over to you.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Simon, for this detailed explanation. And I'm sure that at least everyone managed to understand what you were saying. And in case you have questions, please make sure that you write them down, and then we can always answer them. And I know we answered to a few of them. So here, I know most of you will ask us what's the storyboarding. So the storyboarding is a tool that can help you to work through and clarify the aim, activities, and the expected results, and also clarify and explain what supports you need from others. The aim, activities, expected results that Simon covered in the previous point. So here, just you can start with a blank sheet of paper, and then write like the problem statements across the top, and then you fold the paper and draw lines to divide your paper into 4 boxes. So the first one, you talk about the solutions. Second one, what refugee youth can do. And then the third one, what supports do you need and from whom? And then the fourth one, it's the positive impact of these activities. So here, like when you are thinking about the solutions, because we were talking about the problem statement, and then we know that at the end of the day, we need the solution. So for the solution, first of all, you need to identify. I know one problem can have so many solutions, so you have to identify what's the solution. And then after this solution, it's not like you have just to wait for stakeholders to come and then provide this solution. So now you have to think, as us refugee youth, what can we do to bring this solution? After identifying what you can do as refugee youth, that's when now you can come to the next point to say, no, now what extra support you need and the support you need from who. I know there are so many stakeholders in Kampala. There's UNHCR, the government, there are even other NGOs. So you have to be specific, like which organization can we need, can we contact, and then what kind of support can we request from them? And then the positive impact of the activities that you are going to conduct. So this really works best if you draw rather than just trying to write words. So it's always good, to be more practical than just talking or maybe just writing on paper. This is because drawing uses a different parts of our brains and help us to be more creative, so think outside the box. But draw in the box, so you don't need to have to be like a good artist. You have just to express like the ideas. So here there are a few questions that can guide you when you're working on the solution. So the first question, what solution would you propose for this issue? Yeah, so here you have to just suggest like different solutions. And then here you formulate like the aim. You have identified the problem, and then what's your aim? What's the solution that you are proposing? Because I know there are some who can say, no, here maybe there's child marriage, there's language barrier. So now what's your aim? You have to formulate it. And then what solution do you propose to this problem? So within the community, this is the second one, within the community, what can we do as youth to put these solutions into practice? It's not like since there's a problem, already you have to think about going maybe to someone and then ask for support. Even UNHCR, when you just wake up in the morning, you go to them and then ask them support, you don't have anything at hands, I'm not sure that they are going to support. But at least if you can come with something to say, no, as refugee youth, we have done this, and then we also want you to support us. So I think they will definitely make sure that they support you. And when we talk about these supports, or maybe like what you can do as youth, so we call it activities. And I know activities, we can even do like activities with zero budget. Or if, for example, you have a seed funding, you can start those activities. For example, let's say maybe like organizing discussion, or maybe doing like a campaign in the community. yeah, there are some activities that cannot really require money, but just your effort or your actions. You do it and then you go now to stakeholders, no, we want to do this. So can you now assist us with this? So then they will be like, no, these youth, they are at least active and then we can support them. So this is at least now the third question. In what ways do we need extra support to put these solutions into practice and from who? So here, that's when now you're going to identify, can we contact maybe Green? Can we contact UNHCR? Can we contact the government or wherever who can come and then provide us extra support? For example, how would the project funding help? What other help do we need? Even like this funding, if you are not really planning to say, no, this funding, I'm going to do this, like I'm going to use this for this activity, you can receive the 4,000, then you won't do anything with it. Yeah, so it's always good also to plan before receiving the fund. So the fourth question, if these solutions are implemented, how would they improve the lives of refugees? So here now we are talking about the expected result, because when you are doing your activity, I know that you're expecting at least something good, something positive to come at the end of this project. Yeah, so think about these financial supports, and then you also need to think about things that could help you to work, like space, some technical assistance, maybe small materials assistance, listing opportunities like to engage. Like when you talk about space, for example, if you want to conduct a workshop in the community, like you need maybe a certain space to do. Maybe if you want to do like an online workshop or anything, I know you may need at some point space, and you also need some technical assistance and even some materials. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yep. So here, that's when now we are talking about like identify the solution to the problem. You will, I know there are some of you managed at least to open the application, so you can see this question. The first one, please provide a short summary of the project. Yeah, and then what is your project trying to achieve and how? So here, that's when we are talking about the expected results. So you have to make sure that at least um, you clearly like explain, the achievements that your project will definitely have. So you have at least to make sure that you formulate well your aim. You have to define and explain what you are trying to do orally to address the problem and its root causes. Your project may not solve the problem, but your aim should describe how this project will be in the right direction. Yeah, so the aim, at least it should be like in one or two sentence. So I can give, for example, one sentence like prevent child married and supports young mothers to be financially self-sufficient so they can support themselves and their families by helping girls to stay in school and gain skills. Yeah, so this is just one example on how you can formulate like your aim. I know there are many problems that you can work on, and then you can also maybe formulate, like you can just come with one sentence or two sentences. You don't have to come maybe with a paragraph of 20 sentences. Yeah, so just make sure that you come with something which is really clear. Next slide, please. Yeah, so here you can see there's also this question: how will you implement the activities in a way that promotes the advancement of girls and women? And then how will your project reach marginalized youth and other vulnerable people in the community, and how? So here, that's when we're talking about, I think there's one point that Simon covered on the vulnerability part. So here, just make sure that you have to reach out like to girls, you have to reach out maybe to young mothers, you have to reach out also to people with disabilities. Yeah, and maybe the minority community, so that at least your project can reach, a wide audience. Even when you are doing an application, not only for green, even for other, maybe call for proposals, just make sure that you are really including everyone. Don't just come with a project to say, no, this is only for a specific group. No, make sure that you take all like different groups, so that they can be also part of the project. Even if you can pick maybe one in each group, I think that will definitely help. We, next slide. Yep. So here we are talking as well about the expected results that we covered. So we want to identify the positive impact of the activity, and also formulate like the expected results. So it's always, because as we want to see at the end of the project, what are we going to see? Like the practical action, because we don't want to see only your technique on paper, but we really need to see also in action, like what you are doing, how maybe today or tomorrow to your activities. We'll make sure that at least we are seeing different things, like this change. Even if we go and visit different people, we can really feel like this one has improved the lives of refugees. So and then this impact always be positive. Go to the next slide. So here is just an example of the work plan. Because at least as I told you before, everything at least needs to come up with the work plan, so that we can know how we are going to implement these activities. So you can use these green project templates, to note down the big picture of activity. It's not like going to go really deep, but just give maybe in bullet points, the title of your activity, and then the schedule for maybe timeline to say maybe you are going to conduct in 1 month, 4 activities, one. Yeah. So the outcomes also of the activity, and then the estimated costs. So you have to write down the main activities, and then you have to write for each activity, to estimate the work plan and then timeline. So when you do it in each activity, maybe a more detailed action plan. That means you can drop you and then the team. So as you just read really bullet points of different activities that you can do. For example, you can maybe say like football matches, one during maybe January, and then February. And then the other point is just to also consider the outcomes. So what happens if you think when it's done? How is it going to improve the lives of refugees? And for each activity, we need also to see a bit of expenses. I know in Uganda use the Ugandan shillings there. So it can be also in local currency, then in US as well. So that's when you are doing the reporting, the health.
Bartolome?
Yes.
Yes, I think we can hear you. No, we can hear you clear.
Now, can you hear me now?
It's still cutting. It's cutting a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's clear.
Now you can hear me. Great. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure where you. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yep. So this is at least the example of the work plan and then the budgets. Yes. So you will just see everything. It's really well written there. You know the activity. You just put like in bullet points. Yeah, the title, and then you put also the dates that you are going to do it. For example, maybe I don't know, like 20 January, February. Maybe I will take maybe 1st of February, and maybe mid. Yeah, you just put at least so that we can have an idea of the date. I know sometimes this date can always change, and that's not a problem. You just make sure that at least you give us an idea. So can we go to the next slide? Yeah, and I can also see right, that is who has put in the chat the link to apply and then the application templates and the green website. Yep, so here, yeah, this is at least a clear example. Yeah, as you can see, activity one, football tournament to bring young people from different communities. You see like the dates, one per week for 6 weeks. Yeah, 1 October to 15 November. So in your case, maybe you can also put maybe tree planting or maybe something else you want to put here, like different activities. And maybe it's not only you have to say one per week. You can just put even the dates. You just say no. This activity, I'm going to do it on the 10th of January. This one, I'll do it on 20th of January. Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah, and then you can put now what you need. For example, for you to make sure that you organize this football tournament, there should be football jerseys, there should be refreshment, there should be transportation, there should be balls and everything. So you have to put down, and you have also to put the estimated cost of each activities. Can we go to the next slide? Yep, so here it's also another example. Yeah, so as you can see, like the description of the activity, and then the unit here, the number of the units. For example, if you want t-shirts, how many t-shirts do you want? And then in local currency. And here you are going also to put it like in US. Yeah, I know you have different ways of converting from Ugandan shillings to USD. Yep. So you'll see at least everything here. And in case you have some questions, please come back to us and ask. But I know it's really clear, very clear. You can just read and then you will include everything. Next slide, please. Yep. So here as well, we just want to talk about risks, because I know in every project, not necessarily every project, I know in most of the projects, you will just see that there are some risks that can come up. Yeah, and we don't expect. So these are at least a few risks that you have to include. So you have like to think about like what are the risks you might face during the project. For example, when we can say, for example, maybe the rates, maybe sometimes it can change. For example, when you apply, you use this rate, and maybe now when you receive money arriving like on the market, you see things have already changed. So this is an example of a risk. For example, if there's any disaster risk reduction in your area, so this can be a certain risk. So these are just examples, but I know you also have like specific risks that you can share with us, yeah, so that at least we can also have an idea of what kind of the risks that you can face. So that's where we can. I think one of the questions you can see is like, are there risks to the work plan in terms of the timeline and accomplishment of the activities as planned? Are there risks in terms of the budget, having enough not enough fund or any challenges to receive or use the funds and so you have to make at least a list of different risks, and you have also to think about how you are going to minimize this risk, or maybe how you are going to mitigate. For example, let's say the Ugandan shillings, I don't really have an idea on how you convert it to the US. Maybe today you say like I don't know, 100 or 1,000 Ugandan shillings, it's this amount of dollar. So then when you receive money, it changes from 1,000, maybe it changes to, I don't know, 500 or something. So now, how are you going to mitigate? For example, I can say, okay, so now since there's this risk which has happened, so how am I going to mitigate it? So maybe I'm going to exclude this thing that I was supposed to buy, or maybe I'm going to reduce maybe the amount of refreshment. If I was supposed to buy maybe, let's say, 100 drinks, I can even go to 70, I can even go to 50 to just try to accommodate all the expenses. So these are at least a few ways on how you can mitigate, or maybe how you can reduce these risks. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yep, so this is what you're going to see in the project. So the question is number 15, like, please describe the potential risks that may affect the timely achievement and quality of the expected results of the project. So I'm not going to tell you, but I know you are the ones who are going at least to be able to identify these risks. So here there's the risk description, and then livelihoods, and then mitigation measures. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yep, so here now, I know there are a few colleagues who managed to work with us. I know there's I think we'll reach to the question and answers, and we are almost there. Yep, I know here there's Shalom is here. There's Reliable Refugee Story Association, and then there's Elia. Yes, Elia Siriza. So any of you, just in maybe 1 minute, can you just give us at least, your experience after working with Green? By just 1 or 2 people, just share your experience on how at least you manage your project. And so who is taking the floor? Elia, are you there? Yes, Reliable Refugee Stories Association. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, this is Yesu Ali Kuria. I am the team lead for Reliable Refugee Storytellers Association. I just want to share my experience as an organization that really implemented the Green project in the Bidibidi refugee settlement, specifically in Zone 1. One thing that I've really learned from Green is that they are really very much flexible when it comes to implementation. This is because of the experience that we had together with them. Like there's a project that we implemented that ended on 10th of December last year. um, the policy was for the fund to be transferred to the project manager's account. But we said no, we as Reliable Refugee Storytellers Association, we do not really want that approach because we are fully registered. We have the organization bank account. For us, we prefer the money to be channeled into our organization account. And with that, we were able to come into common understanding, and they were able to really wire the money into our organization account. That's really something that I can say they are very flexible in their strategy. Then secondly, much as we are pushing for our fund to be transferred into the organization account, that means our activities delays are it took like some 1 to 2 weeks, because other organizations, they already received theirs, and for us we were still in the process of trying to agree for our money to be transferred into our account. That means we start our project a bit late, but they really supported us, and they gave us some sort of capacity building in the due course of the project implementation, and it really made the project execution to really be very well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if maybe Shalom or Elia, if you want to come in, maybe 1 minute. And in case you don't, that's still fine. Great. Yeah, that's okay. I know you interacted with us a lot. That's not a problem. So now it's time for questions and answers. I know you've already at least asked a few questions.
Today,
Sorry, can you mute yourself?
not today. Maybe in the next hour or so.
Yeah, I think yes. Thank you. Yep. So now, yeah, next slide. So this is now time for question and answers. So now for the budget, I've seen a question on the budget. I'm having some issues with my. Yes. So now for the budget, it doesn't mean like nabots. Yeah, it's like you can't say, for example, let's say today. I'm not sure if you can hear me. It seems I'm having some technical challenges. Yeah, but I hope you can hear me. Sorry?
I can hear you very well. I don't know
Yes,
if the rest can also hear you as well.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Nabot, like for example, let's say if you go on the market, you know, like a ball, it's let's say $20 or $10. I don't like you don't have to put maybe to say no, let me just put $15 because tomorrow I don't know if the ball will be like instead of $10 it's going to be 15. No, just put the correct price of the ball. Just say one ball, like according to what I've seen in the markets, it's $10. So now if maybe there's any changes or something, maybe this is something like you can just include. You just include on the risks and then how you are going to manage it. Not like you have to change the price. You just put the risks. So these risks, it can happen or it cannot. Yeah, so that's it. So just give us the reality which is on the market. So I'm not sure if I've managed to answer to your question now. So not sure, in case you also have some questions, feel free to use the chat box, or you can just raise your hand and you can speak. Any questions? Any questions? And in case there are no questions, so that means we have done a good job. And okay, yes, Shalom, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Beth. I would like to ask if there is no any other circumstance which comes, what is the timeline after sending the application? Where can we expect the outcome? You know, if there is interviews or the starting date, because also it would be very helpful to know like what is the starting date, the actual starting date of implementation and the ending date.
Okay, thank you so much, Shalom. I think this question I'm going to hand over to Foni, who is going to answer. Foni, over to you.
Hi, Bart. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Apologies. I got caught up with a couple of other commitments, but just to respond to the question. So in terms of the timeline and when, I hope you can hear me okay. In terms of the timeline and when you would expect to get feedback is, so this session today is to really help colleagues who have not submitted the documents required, and to also help other colleagues who have not been able to submit their application to do that. So what we expect is that in the next few days after we have closed the application, we'll start we will start sort of like doing the asset, sort of like looking at the application shortlisting. So expected timeline is around 3 months for implementation, but we're hoping that this can start soon. I can't confirm an exact answer yet, but we expect that once we have completed with the shortlisting, reaching out to the different people who've been selected this month, hopefully implementation can begin around February.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other questions? And I'm sure Salom, we answered your question. Any other questions? Yes, thank you. Yep, I think for the criterias, we even talked about it. We talked about the criteria, so we are going just to focus on the criteria that we spoke about during this interview, during this call, I'm sorry. Yep, so these are at least the criteria. First of all, it's just to be based in Uganda, Kampala, and then, the project manager should be between 15 to 30 years. You have to clearly explain the aim of your project. It has to be like clear, and then it needs to have a positive impact in your project. So yeah, just make sure at least, when you're applying, try to go through these criteria, and then you just try and make sure that you really qualify. You see, when you are doing your application, make sure that you just read what can I do so that I can make sure that my application is really successful. For example, they say, no, the project manager, it should be like between this and this. So make sure that, I'm around this rate, end rate, so that you can be able to apply. And then if they say no, you have to clearly explain maybe the aim, the vision of your project. Make sure that you do that. And if there's another criteria, just make sure that you respect, and that would be fine. And definitely, we are going to share with you the slides of this workshop, and even the recording, so that you'll be able to watch with your colleagues, and maybe you can also share with your friends. That will be fine. Yep. So for the sustainability of this project, I know, when we are giving, for example, this 4,000, yeah, this is something can help you, like a seed funding. And I know there are even some of you who can come up with different projects which can be sustainable, because as we want at least for you to start a project which can sustain even, after you submit the reports, even after finishing the projects, you can continue maybe with the same projects, and you will be also able to apply to different, call for proposals. Yeah, and maybe they can provide 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, and you'll be able to manage it. Yep, so that's it. And another possibility for sustainability, as we said, we provide as well capacity building, like it will be on different thematics, and this is something which can help you, in sustaining your project. So, Victor, over to you in case you want to come in. Yes.
Thanks, Bart. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Mine is not a question. It's just best to appreciate Green for these good opportunities. I think this is a good way to support the youth field to solve a different problem from different side. Mostly here in Kampala, to all people they get those chance to be selected. Please, I will request for the refugees field people, you need to work to support our communities. So for sure, we need more than 5 years at least to have a good place as a youth, as a change maker, as people who are willing, they have that need to support each other. Thank you so much for everyone, Barthélemy, Shalom, Simon, Foni, this is a good opportunity for the young people, for the youth from this community, from refugee settlement, from Kampala. This is a good thing. So I will appreciate everyone and say good luck to everyone who will be selected, because I saw tomorrow is the last day, right, for the deadline. It's not tomorrow.
No, we have tried at least to extend. Now it's no longer tomorrow. Yes, it will. The deadline is up to 10 January. Yeah, so that you can be able to edit the application, and then you can also share with your colleagues. Yep. And you know, this is 2024, so we just want to make sure that everyone is ready.
Okay. Thank you so much. At least we are going to share it again with the fellow youth outside. Yeah, this is a good opportunities. And then I will request this is like a pilot project. If people will be selected, they are finished, it will be good to look how to continue to support even them to continue this project. It will be good. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Connie, I'm not sure if you have a comment on Elia. I was asking if there are any possibilities that can support the sustainability of the project, post funding to ensure continued impact, or maybe anything else on this. Over to you.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Bart. Thank you, everyone. Just to respond to the question on sustainability, I think it's our hope and our dream, and of course, our vision that more refugee youth-led organizations will be supported, and they will also be able to explore other opportunities that will allow them to have continuous sustainability in the work that they're doing. I think Green doing this for the last few, maybe 1 or 2 years, what we're trying to do is ensure that the different organizations that we engage with are able to grow their work beyond just what they're doing. At the moment, they're able to learn vital skills that will really help them to prepare for different opportunities that are out there. So when we're looking at sustainability, for Green, sustainability also means looking at how can we support through different skills that you're able to learn so that you're prepared for future opportunity. I know that funding is needed, core funding is needed. And if funding is not there, then organizations will not be able to continue their work. However, we will keep on trying to see different donors who are able to come on board and support refugee youth-led work with funding that is sustainable. But at the moment, what we have on the table is this opportunities where we're able to work with refugee youth in whatever location, in whatever organization, in whatever position they're in, to work with them to really help to prepare for some of the other opportunities that might come up. So sustainability definitely is one of our main agenda, but to get to that, we're slowly working on that. And right now, this is what we have. And I encourage all of us to look at sustainability can be multiple things. It can be funding, which is the main one, but also it can be in terms of systems, in terms of personnel, in terms of preparation. If you don't have a team, or if you don't have a vision, or if you don't have a reason as to why you're doing whatever you're doing, and you get funding and you're not prepared, that funding will not be able to sustain you. But if you have a dream, you have a vision, you have put it together, you have you've connected all the different gaps, then it's easier to ensure that sustainability is not just focusing on the funding. And when the funding comes, you're able to really take your work much more ahead. So I think it's not that we have forgotten. We know that sustainability is a very vital thing. And for Green, it does not just mean the funding aspect, but also the support in terms of programming, in terms of the work that people are doing in the community. So just a long answer for sustainability and how we envision it as well. Back to you, Bart. I think you're on mute, Bart. Oh, I've also remembered something. Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, I know, like, based on the previous intervention, definitely this is a pilot. We're trying, and our hope is that what we have been trying to do is proof of concept. So with this as well, we hope that more funding can be directed directly to refugee youth organizations. So we hope that as we go through this with the different partners, that we're able to also continue supporting the work that young people are and really meeting young people where they are. So we'll keep you posted in case of anything else that comes up. Back to you, Bart.
All right. Thank you, Abita.
Sorry, your audio is not.
Your audio is not okay, but yeah.
Your audio is not okay. Sorry, Bart.
Can you hear me now?
A bit better.
We are struggling to hear you, bro.
Oh, sorry. Next slide.
Okay, let me take over. No worries, like we can hear you. Is there any other question before we wrap up the call? Okay. If there's no any other question, next slide, please. Please, if you've already submitted your application, please go in, and after this session, if there are a couple of things that you think you have not included in your application, please go ahead and edit your application. You're able to edit that. Remember to include the relevant templates. This is the templates that explains your budget, that explains the activities that you will be doing. Those are really important because without those, your project will not be looked at. It's important to have those templates included in your application. You can scan these documents that you're seeing on your screen right now, but the links will also have been shared by Rahil Daris on the chat. In case of any question, please reach out to us at Refugee Youth Project. If you're uncertain about anything, we will try and respond. We're back from holiday, so in case of any question, please feel free to reach out to us through the email that you can see on the screen. If you know of any other young people working on different projects to do with livelihood, social entrepreneurship, education, the different types of projects, please share this opportunity with them as well. I think there's power in also sharing information so that we can also have an understanding of the different types of projects that are working within the location that we're targeting. But other than that, we'd like to once again say thank you for coming today and for attending this session. In case of anything, please reach out to us on our email. We wish you the very best. We hope that this does not just become a one-off engagement. We will be sharing with you in case of any workshops that can help your team, regardless of whether you're selected or not. We'll share this with you so that we can also help each other out in learning different skills or expertise. From my end, I know I had not introduced myself. I just jumped in. My name is Foni. I work with the Green Team, and it's really a pleasure to be here. The focal point from Uganda NRC is Kenneth. You will be able to, he works with NRC. He was not able to be here today. However, those are some of the colleagues that we're working with, colleagues from the Women Refugee Commission who are our partners, NRC Uganda, and our supporter and our donor, Innovation Norway, for this Dignity project. And with that, I thank you all, and I wish you all a very great weekend and success to all the teams that will be selected for this particular project. And that's it. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Funny, I think Nabot has his hand raised.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can take that last one before we close.
Yeah,
I
just a
can
quick one.
see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I just had a quick question. Do you have any like platform where you put the people who were successful before in the project?
Yes. So where we put like different colleagues or different organizations that Green has worked with before, we typically would put this on our website. The link will be shared in the chat. So there are two things that we do. Number one, within the application process, if you have applied or you've made any application, submitted any application, if you're successful, if you make it to the end and you're selected, we will send you an email. If you're not selected, we will also send you an email outlining some of the things that sort of like just letting you know why you are not selected. So we give you feedback. For groups that we have worked with before in the previous calls for proposal that we have put out, we share this on our website where we're able to also publish their work, basically giving them the platform to share the different work they're doing, including their contact details and all those other things, so that these groups, in case people want to learn, people want to connect, you're also able to do that through the website. I think the link has been shared in the chat. I don't know if there's any other question. Okay, I think that's it for today. And please feel free to connect with us on social media as well. Our comms team is always ready to connect. In case you need access to this, the PDF for this session, as well as the recording, please let us know. That can also be shared with you in case you need to go back and review and see if there's anything that you're keen on learning as well. And yeah, that's it from my end. Bart, I don't know if your connection is back and if you want to say anything.
No, okay. Yeah, I think that's it for today, as you said. Sorry for the technical challenges. Yeah, but thank you so much, and have a nice night, or have a nice evening, have a nice morning for others like us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. See you all. Bye.